We are locked, loaded, and live, baby boy. What were we going to show a video of?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I am going to remind you in advance that I'm very sorry and I apologize.
I guess we'd be a little bit late letting our dogs out by a week or two, but close enough.
What?
Why are we late?
Well, because it's been on the theaters and now it's already out on streaming. So if we're trying to get to the table with everybody else, we're a little bit late.
All right, when are we going to start? Hey.
Hey.
How you doing? I'm Dr. Paul.
Too busy over there looking like Richard Dreyfuss at the end of Stand By Me, just forlorn at your steering wheel. I'm Diet Dr. Paul.
And together we are rotten taters, you know?
Good.
Boiled, baked, and fried. Coming at you with a belated hot take on the newest addition to the Universal Monster
Revamp, I guess.
Yep. The Wolfman.
Wolf, comma, slash, space.
Werewolf.
Man.
Their wolf.
Over there, wolf.
Children of the night. What a mess they make. I am Count...
But yes, directed by Lee Winnell. A little synopsis before we jump into it. It's about a guy and his wife, and you can tell, they got a kid, and maybe their relationship isn't as close as it used to be. So he gets a letter one day that his father has been declared dead, who's apparently gone missing. And his dad he didn't have a very good relationship with his dad as a kid, kind of very militaristic.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, well, why don't we go up to my dad's place for the summer and we'll clean it out and then
reconnect.
Find each other, have some family time. But on the way up, they run into a monster. And then we get a movie.
We did.
The end.
That's f***ing illegal.
Did you have expectations going in? What was your expectation?
I grew up, obviously we are, boomer, millennial, father, son kind of stuff. If you're brand new to our show.
Nice.
And so I have much more of an affinity with the Universal. Universal from the 30s and the 40s and the 50s was sort of the introduction to people my generation, probably not so much in the theater as we did on television when Universal released those films, and all around the country we would watch them. And then that led us to things like Hammer Films and those other things, and in the 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. So it's like our DNA is that those Universal Monster films, and I loved the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that this was coming out and the same creative team was behind it, I was really excited for it. So I really desperately wanted to like it. And as is the case a lot of times, which I probably need to teach myself, do not look at reviews, just go to the movie, because I saw the scores and I'm thinking, oh man, what have they done? And I still hold great hope for it. But overall, was very underwhelming.
Yeah, I thought a very similar experience in terms of like my expectations. Saw the creative team. Invisible Man was amazing. I was like, this is going to be good. I like the actors and the actresses in it. Then we saw the trailer. The teaser was okay because they didn't show too much. But then it got into a case of a fever of like, let's show everything. And before you knew it, we knew what the werewolf looked like. We knew most of the story. It just didn't leave anything to the imagination. So I think it really took a lot of steam from me, and to where it got to the point, like we didn't go see it in the theater, and this probably was primed up for a theater, visit for us. So that just, I think, tells a little bit about it. It was a little underwhelming, but I think because my expectations had flipped, I kind of liked a lot of it. It was by no means perfect or anything remotely close. There are lots of issues that I had with it, but I think in terms of a whole, it wasn't a bad movie. I didn't, leave us finish it, and was like disappointed. I was like, you know what? I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. The end.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
You saw a different movie than I did.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of issues with it, but I thought it was a lot of times we'd say something like, "Well, what about this?" and then it would happen, or I thought this was going to happen, and then it happened. I don't know. I found I was surprised in some good ways.
Well, let's just stack it out. Let's start with the acting.
Acting, okay. I thought Juliet, what's her last, the female lead? I thought she was the strongest acting in the movie.
I agree.
By far. The little girl I thought did a good job. I did point out that at the very final shot of her where her and the mom slumped down, you could tell she's really reaching in that scene, but I give her a pass. The husband kind of was like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, where he just makes some grunts and some gurgles, and that's about all you get to him. So I think Christopher Abbott was wasted in a giant way in this.
Yeah. I did not find the acting to be all that compelling, and probably at the heart. The number of times that I thought during the movie is like, I just don't care about these people.
Mm-hmm.
And the heart of a movie in drama or horror or whatever is you have to care for the people that you're watching, so you feel some empathy. So if they're in a frightening situation, you feel frightened. And if they're happy, you're happy. And I just really didn't care for the folks. And I don't know if that was as much of the acting as maybe it was the writing.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that. I think the writing was maybe some of the issue with this. Was it the case of, too many re-edits or what? Because the characters seemed a little disjointed. I like the wife the most, but she's supposed to be the least empathetic character in the entire movie, because they keep harkening back on the relationships and the disconnect between the mother and the daughter and how she connects with the father more. Yep. And so you're being protected by the mom is your protector now. I thought that they left a lot of meat on the bones in terms of picking at that relationship and getting, to the meat of what was there. So I think that maybe that was the issue, just trying to do too much.
The heart of the story, it very much reminds me of the most recent Evil Dead film, where you're locked into a house or a building with an evil presence. That's basically what it was. It brought nothing new to the whole werewolf, mythos. And the things that we do think about with werewolves, the moon.
Well, I don't
and
think
the
it was a
silver
werewolf.
bullets.
That's what I said earlier. I don't know that it was supposed to be a werewolf.
Well, they framed it that way at the very beginning with the
wolf face, whatever. I think they make it like wolf adjacent.
The name of the movie is the Wolf
I
Man.
get what you're saying, but I think the monster that they created was not the werewolf.
Yeah. What about the makeup design?
I didn't like it.
I didn't either.
I didn't like it. I kept waiting for like the final,
right,
for him to be a werewolf, but it didn't go from the way he looked to the way his dad looked, where his teeth were a little sharper. And I get like maybe trying to go for something a little different. They wanted this to be a little more believable. So let's think about what the human body may be capable of in a metamorphosis type of situation. So I think that that's what they got hung up on there, was trying to make it too realistic and too believable. He is a werewolf, for crying out loud.
But at the heart of a werewolf movie is the transformation.
Yes.
And I felt like the transformation just wasn't there. And it's ironic that we are filming this. It's Saturday, and tonight on Svengoolie, they are showing the film.
Oh, with where they turn into reptiles or snakes.
Yes. And I'm telling you, if you looked at the transformation with the guy when he starts to look like a snake, and you put that side by side with the father at the end, it's like the same makeup design. It's just, I kept thinking, oh my goodness, am I watching? I never know how to say the name of that movie, but
yeah, the big transformation scene in this, I said to you, is he changing into the werewolf or is he changing back into a human?
Yes.
It was that sort of like just off kilter and it missed the target, to where I didn't even know it was happening until the final shot, which is the nails coming through the nails.
Yeah.
But it didn't do anything. He didn't really change at all. We saw some of his facial structure morph a little bit, but it didn't look really any different when they finished the changing scene.
Do you think that there's two werewolves in this? Do you think that was that was a surprise to anybody going into if you watch the movie, or is it like, oh my goodness, you saw that coming for a mile
I don't know that
away?
people saw that coming from the trailer, but I think once you get into the movie, it's pretty obvious that that's the case was. And that's what I wanted to say when we're talking about script and story, is that could have been the big thing of this movie, is the evil outside just as terrifying as the evil inside. They even reference that. But in no time do we ever get into like a scene where she's caught between staying in and going out, where like she's at the door and her husband's like being weird and creepy and there's a werewolf outside. So like, they didn't really play with that at all. And I thought that was a big swing and a miss.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I thought was the best thing for me about this movie: the sound design. There is, even from the beginning, when the father and the son are out and they're hunting, and you hear the snarls and all this kind of stuff all throughout the movie, whether or not they are hearing something climb on the roof. I mean, the sound design on this was really quite excellent, and did generate a little bit of tension and scares for me. The rest of the film just didn't pull its weight. The acting, the special makeup effects kind of stuff. The story.
I like the cinematography. I thought for the most part was pretty good. It was a little dark at times for me. It was hard to tell what was going on in a few scenes, but I thought about 75% of the cinematography was actually really good. And the sound was really, really good, but I had a problem with some of the music. There at one point we hear like, it sounded like old school Hammer horror, horns and section. It just felt weird and out of place. And then I don't even remember a lot of the music. There are parts of this thing that are great and parts of it that are not great.
Yeah.
It seems very all over the place.
It leaves some questions for me, because there's an individual that's killed early on that you're assuming that this person was the victim of a werewolf attack. So where are they, kind of stuff? What did they, there's transformation. You wonder at the end, so therefore what, with the people that survive, it's like, what does this mean for them? There was no post-credit scene, so clearly they're not setting this up for there's going to be another, Wolfman. I don't know what it is about this particular character, but there have been multiple attempts to try to revive the Wolfman since probably you mentioned earlier that your favorite one was the Howling, and then you have American Werewolf in London. There really hasn't been anything like that. Benicio del Toro had his spin for a while.
Not very good.
Did not work. And ultimately, I kind of think the Wolfman is probably one of my favorite characters.
He's my favorite monster of all, like the Universal Hammer monster, like the standard monsters. Yeah. But you're very, very right in the fact that he doesn't get done very well and tends to be poorly done films and poorly done. A lot of B horror is done in werewolves, and like where the werewolf will look cool, but everything else is bad. I can probably count in one hand the amount of good werewolf movies. You got Dog Soldiers, Curse of the Werewolf, American Werewolf, and
Ginger Snaps.
Paris or London? I get
London,
it mixed
they
up.
did too.
London is the good one. Ginger Snaps and The Howling. That's pretty much it. And then maybe the Lon Chaney Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably it in terms of like good werewolf horror movies. And that's sad.
You left off the Teen Wolf. Which
Teen Wolf
actually
Teen
was
Wolf
a
was
really
good.
fairly decent.
No, I like Teen Wolf. I don't think of it as a horror movie because it's a little more comedic. So a lot of what makes a werewolf is really not a part of that movie too. So it's just a little different.
Yeah. As far as score goes, I mean, we've said before on this show that, but really most horror movies are just bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're either really good or really bad. And I would put this in the bad. I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where I sat with it. It's somewhere between like 5.5 and maybe like 5.9. I can't quite give it a 6, but I could give it right under.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And again, if you like werewolf movies, and again, I do like werewolf movies, so I'll probably give this another watch just because.
I was going to ask you, do you think it would be better on a second viewing?
Now that I don't have any expectations to worry about, I definitely probably will give it another viewing. So
yeah, I do think the weakest link in the story, but also I think that the character, the gentleman that plays the Wolfman,
Christopher Abbott,
it didn't work for me.
Yeah, there wasn't much there for me either. He just seemed kind of blank. a little just, nothing exciting, nothing interesting really there.
Yeah.
Very hollow.
Unfortunately, it means, well, if it was a Marvel movie, they would reboot it next year.
I am inevitable.
It looks like we're going to have to wait a decade,
At least another century.
Until maybe what we need is a werewolf comedy like Teen Wolf, something to sort of whet our palate. And then, 2-3 years from that, after we've forgotten all that, then we come out with a really good.
Yeah, I wonder why it is such a hard thing to capitalize on versus things like vampires or Frankenstein or.
Yeah. And what's really missing in the Universal? I mean, we've had the Visible Man, which is a lower tier character.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Wolf Man. We've done vampires do so well, but the creature.
Mm-hmm.
We have not really seen a decent, that I know of, a Creature of the Black Lagoon movie. I think it's time for that. I think.
Yeah, there's the Fishman in Monster Squad, he looks cool and looks really, really good, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's time for for that. We've done The Mummy.
Maybe like Benicio, or not Benicio, but Del Toro would be good to do that one, I think, because he did with The Shape of Water, kind of similar.
Yes, sir.
Universe.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. And you got anything else to add to this?
No.
We do this. We've done this show a couple times. Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Do it.
Which every once in a while that means is every single Thursday for 2 years we get a what to watch that comes out, drops on Mondays. Sometimes we just have surprises. We do mostly movies, comic books, model kits. We travel. We talk about the world. We love to have you here. We love your feedback. Tell us what you think, and
make sure to like and subscribe.
That's true. Whatever those little buttons are that are on the screen, pass it on to folks. But we truly appreciate everything that you bring to this, and we will see you
at the movie.
At the movies.
Kill me.